As we alluded to earlier, image quality is a key capability of our scanners. Now, the reason for that is an MFD, as good as the scan quality can be on them, is a jack of all trades. It's got to be a scanner, it's got to be a copier, it's got to be a printer. Kodak scanner has one job, and that's to scan. So the scan heads themselves are very large, and they're very bespoke to the actual scanning process. So they're designed for that, and we have a lot of experience in that image quality. So we have a look at these. We look at poor image quality, and you can see here some of the documents that you'll see. You can't get data clarity. So you can see here we've got a black band down there because that particular scan head can't differentiate on the carbon paper. OCR accuracy affects automation rates, affects processing speed. So if your role is to process, let's say, mortgage applications, and out of every 100 that you scan, an operator has to look at 50 of them and key that in manually, that's not working. Whereas if you've got an OCR system that can read through those lines and runs at full speed, and you've only got one or two that fail due to the customer not filling them in correctly, that is a much better process. And that's all down to the ability of the OCR and its OCR quality. And we're going to look at that in a short while. I can't stress enough how much image quality impacts on it. And it also brings down the file sizes. So with a better quality image, you can actually also get a smaller file size. And I know that sounds a bit back to front. You'd normally expect the higher the DPI, the bigger the file size, but it's actually the quality of the image, the reduction of dots, the filling in of blanks that brings that file size down. Now, going back 10 years, that was a big problem because disk drives were small, you didn't have much space on them, so you wanted a small file size. That problem went away as disk storage became cheaper. Now we've got the issue where people are using cloud systems, they're using Azure, they're using AWS, and where you're transmitting data backwards and forwards frequently, you're actually incurring costs on those. So we want to keep the files as small as possible and as high quality so they're not costing us to move around the network. All Kodak systems have perfect paste technology. So that includes deskewing, auto-cropping, orientation, sharpening, intelligent background smoothing, streak removal, noise reduction, and items such as color dropouts. So when you fill in a passport form, you'll notice the boxes tend to be shaded behind in a different color. This drops them out so that that's actually legible as the text that you've written. And we'll see an example of this. So deskew and auto-cropping, as you would expect, takes that document, takes away the edges, and it's now leveled it up so the data is now becoming more readable, but the image size is still fairly large. You'll notice we've got a coffee stain on there, and the image is probably a little bit bright. Noise reduction, that takes out any dots, it's removed the coffee stain on there, it removed any creases from the document, so now the image size is coming down, and to an OCR system, the data is becoming more readable. Sharpening, that brings the edges of the text more into focus, again for RPA and OCR systems, so it makes the data more readable. And color dropout, we can see, removes those items that we need as a human to fill the boxes in the right place and dramatically drops that image size down because all of a sudden you're not carrying on with shading or anything else in the background. So now we've got a document which is far more readable to a forward-looking system, whether it's as a searchable PDF, whether it's going into a database, whether it's being uploaded with OCR tags from the document, where its image size has dropped dramatically. Because at the end of the day, a scan is just an image, and an image is absolutely worthless. What's actually important is the data within that image.